if you speak to the people in your town's plumbing department, you will find them very helpful. And you also find a way to have your torch in a safe place and place your tanks out of doors where they belong. And also they may be able to recommend someone to you that is very good at dealing with gases, that can set up your hoses and fuel lines. And as I say, it is ultimately important to have proper ventilation and have a fireproof area to work in and a well-lit area to work in. And also it's important to have a secure area to work in, because flame working is dangerous and it shouldn't have access to children. I mean, children shouldn't be able to access your flame working area. So it's very important to start with safety. Safety first. Once you have your gas lines properly placed and inspected by your town to make sure that you've done everything correctly, you're ready to light the torch. As I said, the red knob is propane, and in my case propane, and the white knob is oxygen. And as I say, you know, your colors of your gas lines will support that idea for you. If in the beginning you are a little bit unsure about which way to turn the torch knobs on or off, and that can be confusing a little bit in the beginning, it's okay to take a Sharpie pen and put little arrows for yourself that will remind you which way is off and which way is on until you get used to the idea. Once you're used to the idea, you'll automatically know which way to go. First, we always light the propane and then add oxygen. So I'm going to light the propane at this point. And here's your propane flame to start with. Now I'm going to add oxygen very slowly, in teeny weeny little steps, very slowly adding the oxygen. And you will see the blue flame come. I am going to add a little bit more propane and then add oxygen very slowly, very, very slowly. Never do anything quickly with the torch. To make a bigger flame, add the propane, add the oxygen. Hearing that nice, gentle whoosh. You never want to hear a loud hissing with a torch. It always has to be like a gentle whisper. And I'm going to lower my propane a bit. And depending on what you're making, you may want to use a very large flame and add more and more. Decreasing the oxygen, decrease the propane. Decrease oxygen. For a small flame, decrease propane. This torch has the ability to be lowered down very, very small, to be able to make a very, very small and pointed flame. To turn off the flame, we're going to turn the oxygen off first, slowly turning it to the off position. And there's the propane. Now we will turn the propane off. And you do this very slowly. You never ever make fast moves with the torch. I'll show you again. Open with the propane. And you don't have to be out like this. You make it nice and close within a nice 4-inch flame or a 5-inch flame. Many people make the mistake and do this. We don't want to do that. We want to make it nice and gentle. And then slowly adding your oxygen, slowly, until we get our nice blue flame. Everything is done very, very gently. Starting with a minimum and then pushing it to the maximum. And there we go, beautiful flame to do flame working in. This is a nice flame. And we can gentle it up a little bit. But this is a nice flame for flame working. In order to check if you have too much propane in your flame, you can take a white piece of glass and put it into the flame. If it doesn't blacken, it means you have a nice clean flame. If you have too much propane, you will be, do you see this? If you have too much propane, your white will blacken. Too much propane will produce black soot on the outside of your glass. So then you're going to just lower the propane down and put your glass back in, and it will clean right off. That means you have a nice oxygenating flame. I want to talk a little bit about bringing the glass into the flame for the first time, which could be a very challenging experience for people who've never, put hot glass into a flame. And after a while, you will find this to be a routine thing that gives you a lot of pleasure and relaxation. But the first time is probably much more challenging than you may recognize. So we're taking a long piece of glass, and it's cold to the touch, and we're going to bring the glass about 5 inches out of the flame. Many people, for the first time, want to always bring their glass into this 1-inch area beyond the jets. But you don't want to bring your glass there. You always want to be out a little further. You don't want to be close to the head of the torch. It's not going to benefit you. So for initial heating, you're going to bring your piece of glass way out into the flame and gently rotate in the flame. We're also wanting to point the glass down, because should a piece fall off, it'll go down. If you point it towards your face, should a piece pop off, it will go towards your face. It's like a little rocket, and it will pop out. And also, sometimes glass can go a great distance. So we're very gently turning it in the flame, warming the tip of the glass, until we see it getting into a glowing state. Now we're ready to come a little closer in. And if you notice, my hand is always rotating the glass. You never ever stay still. Because if you stay still, the glass will use gravity to pull it down. So we're basically using centrifugal force and gravity, gently rotating. If you look at the position of my fingers, you'll see how very easy it is just to roll the glass on your fingertips back and forth. And that's something to practice, keeping the glass in the flame. If the glass gets too hot and it begins to seem like you're losing control of it, you lift it up and continue to rotate, because you are in control of the glass. The glass is not in control of you. You are making it do what you want it to do. The torch is an extension of your fingers. The glass is an extension of your fingers. And you can control it and make it do exactly what you want it to do. It's very good to practice just making a simple sphere. And that, seems like something that's very easy. But it is something to practice. Also, in looking at the flame, you begin to relax, gently rocking the glass back and forth, watching it create a sphere. It's somewhat relaxing watching it create the sphere. As you heat beneath the sphere a little bit, you will find the glass falls back on itself and the ball becomes bigger. So you're constantly heating the glass just below the sphere. If it gets a little out of control, lift it up. Everything in flame work is very slow and deliberate. You are in control. The torch is not in control, the flame is not in control, you are. And you could easily tame the glass by lifting it out of the flame. And there you go. So you may want to, for the first few times you do this, just practice making a sphere. Because the sphere is the basis for many, many things that you're going to make. And sometimes very simple things become the basis. The control, beginning to get control over the torch, control over the glass. That's a very, very important step. Because a lot of people try to go very far, very fast. And flame working is very meditative and slow. It's relaxing. It's not meant to be juggled in a way that's fast. Matter of fact, the slower you go, the more control you gain over what you're doing. When you've made a nice sphere, you may want to stop. And that may be enough for today.